All right, y'all, we're back today, and I must ask you a question. Have you tried out Arcane Archer yet with Baldur's Gate 3? Because I gotta tell you, I think it's one of the best subclasses that they introduced. It is versatile, it does damage, it's consistent, and also it helps out your entire party from range. So if you have checked out Arcane Archer, well, sit back and enjoy it. And for those of you that basically haven't touched the subclass yet, buckle in. Alright, an in-character creator here. Obviously, most of these choices are completely up to you. I went with Elf and High Elf because of the High Elf cantrip Booming Blade. Just because we're talking about Arcane Archer doesn't mean you can't get in melee range. So Booming Blade is excellent for that. Obviously, the class we're going with is Fighter, and we're going to pick up Second Wind. Nice little heal here. You can see, actually, you really can't see, what our weapon-wise, we are proficient with every weapon. We can wear any armor. That's just the benefit of being a fighter. Fighting style, archery or two-weapon fighting. Obviously, you can respec during your playthrough at any point and kind of experiment with these two, because I think there are points where getting dual hand crossbows is really good. So two-weapon fighting would obviously be preferable for that, but archery in general, I don't think you can go wrong with. So this one, kind of up to you. Now your background, obviously another RP choice here. Pick what you want. Ability points. The main ones that I would focus on here are dexterity and intelligence. Intelligence is what your arrows are going to use if the spell effect actually procs. And then when it comes to the rest of your choices here, Constitution is always something good to have. You could always dip in a little bit into Strength. I have High Wisdom here because I'm thinking of a multi-class option for this character here. We are going to discuss a little bit about multi-classing at the end, or before the gameplay section, I should say. But this is kind of how I would have my ability points. Again, Dexterity and Intelligence are the two important things for here. But with that out of the way, let's go ahead and jump on to level 2. And I almost forgot, we're going to name our elf Aragorn. Perfect. Moving on to level 2 here, Fighter, we pick up Action Surge. This just makes fighters perfect. Very desirable, very good dip into. Nothing else going on with Fighter at this level, so we can move on to level 3. Now level 3, this is where we're going to pick up Arcane Archer in our subclass. Now, initially, we only get, I think, 3 arcane arrow shots. I could be wrong, and I'll correct that if I'm wrong, but I only think we get 3. Now, Arcane Archer, we get to pick a cantrip. I would go with Guidance here. And for your arcane shots, I think Seeking Arrow here is an absolute must pick. This arrow cannot miss. So when you target a target, you will see that there is a percentage. That percentage is if the Fairy Fire effect is going to get procced onto the target. So it's not the actual damage you're going to do. Again, it's if Fairy Fire is going to be applied. And the way this arrow tracks, it's basically like Magic Missile, where it'll like snake around corners and stuff. So very handy. You don't need to be like in the best like range position. You can go around walls. This is an absolute, again, must pick for your first arcane arrows here. Definitely take this one. And after Seeking Arrow, I think another must pick is Bursting Arrow. This is like an explosive arrow shot. This is great for AoE damage. This is good throughout the entire game, especially in Act 1 when a bunch of goblins get close together. Just boom, just destroy all of them, kill them all at once. Again, a really good pickup here. Now, when it comes to your next arrow pick, we can kind of talk about the other arrows now. Banishing Arrow, this is really nice for getting a big threat off the table. So that's a good pick there. Beguiling Arrow, I'm not the biggest fan of the charm effect, so maybe skip that one. Enfeebling Arrow, this can be good. It'll hurt enemies that are doing a lot of physical damage. Grasping Arrow, man, I try to like this one a lot, and it does have its uses. It's just maybe don't pick it up so early on here. Shadow Arrow here, this is okay. Blind is actually a really good effect. I like that a lot better than, say, something like Charmed. And then the other one that I think is actually pretty good, and probably what I'll take here, is Piercing Arrow. This will do just a line shot and hit all the targets in its path. So again, another multi-target option here, really good, or especially early on. We're only in level 3. So I'm going to take that and we can move on to level 4. So at level 4 here, we get our first feat. Now we're going to talk about, I would say, all the good choices for feats, especially for Fighter, because Fighter, we get 4 feats inherently. We get obviously level 4 here, 6, 8, and 12. So let's go through our options here. Obviously, ability improvement and going with either dexterity or your intelligence. Really good choice there. Alert. Maybe skip out on this one just because we're already going to have really high dexterity. It's never a bad pickup though, so keep that in mind. And then because we're going to have so many feats, picking up something like Lucky maybe later on is not a bad option here. Now, I did pick a High Elf here for basically Booming Blade because, again, even though we're Arcane Archer, It doesn't mean we can't get into melee range, and we're going to have some good melee options. So maybe taking something like Wizard Initiate and picking up Booming Blade here, not a bad idea. But I think the most important one is obviously Sharpshooter. If we're going to be an archer, if we're going to be a ranged martial character of sorts, we need to pick up Sharpshooter. This is going to give us a flat damage bump, a little bit of a penalty to our attack rolls for it. But if we take something like the fighting style archery, well, that basically helps mitigate at a little bit. And then also height, and as far as our low ground, doesn't affect us anymore. And then other than that, I think that's basically the best choices when it comes to Arcane Archer as far as our feats. So whatever order you do these in, it's kind of up to you. If you feel like you're having a hard time hitting your target, I really wouldn't go with Sharpshooter first, maybe bump up your dexterity initially, but definitely at some point level 6 you're gonna want to pick up Sharpshooter just because it's just so much damage that you'd be leaving off the table if you don't take it. So that's our feats. For this first level here, I'll just bump up our dexterity. Dexterity is an easy one to get some items that bump up dexterity, so maybe intelligence if you feel like you really want your spell effects or your arrow effects to proc, maybe go with that. For this video right now, again, we're going to have a lot of feats to work with. For this one right now, I'm just going to go with dexterity, and we can move on to level 5. Moving on to level 5, and I'll meet you down by the river. Okay, level 5, we actually don't get really anything except for extra attack. This is amazing for martial classes. Now, as Arcane Archer, we can also swap out our arrows like spells, so if you feel like you need to change it up a bit, this is your opportunity, but other than that, we can move on to level 6. Nomad, you really gonna go a whole video not talk about why you got a goddamn mustache? I was kind of planning on not talking about it, but I am going to Texas for the weekend, so, you know, gotta have the stash for that. Now, back to the game. Level 6 here, we get our second feat really early on. Love it. This is where I would absolutely pick up Sharpshooter if you haven't done it yet, and we can move on to level 7. Now, level 7 is cool because on the test server, we had less Arcane Arrow charges with Arcane Archer, and I feel like that kind of put people off to the subclass, but in the live version, they have buffed how many Arcane charges you get. So at this point, I think we're at 7 total, which might not seem like a lot, but these Arcane charges come back on short rest, so you're going to end up using a lot of them, and by the time I think we hit level 10, we're going to have even more charges where you can basically just unload every encounter with how many Arcane Arrow shots you want to shoot off, and you'll be completely fine resource-wise, which is going to make you very deadly. Now, we also get Magic Arrow, which this is okay. It's just at this point in the game, you're going to have a bow that has weapon enchantment, and that basically makes your arrows and your bow magical. So this one's a little weird to me. It's fine, whatever. Curving Shot. This is really good for bow users, or I guess crossbow users too, because if you miss, you can then use your bonus action, and your arrow will basically track to the next target instead, which again, really handy, really helps out using your bonus action for something. Now, if you're using 2-hand crossbows, maybe not as useful because you can just use your offhand. And we got a puppy. Hi, baby. Hi. Mwah. You bringing me your toy? You bringing me your toy? This is the first time you showed up in the new spot. Yeah. Mwah. Okay, bye. Lost my train of thought, a little bit of rudely interrupted right there, and she's gone. Okay, so we'll move on to our Arcane Shot. Now, the Arcane Shot that I would definitely pick up is Banishing Arrow at some point. I'm going to pick it up now, really handy, and we can move on to level 8. Really quick, level 8 here, I'm just going to use Ability Improvement. I'm going to bump up my Intelligence, and then we'll call it a day and move on to level 9. Real quick, level 9, we get Indomitable. Good stuff, good stuff, good stuff. We're going to move on to level 10 really quickly. And now this is where we get more Arcane Arrow charges, and I believe we are now at 10 Arcane Shots, which is a lot. I'm not a mathematician, but between long rests, I think that's 30 Arcane Arrows you can shoot. You have a Bard, or you throw a Bard into the equation, that's 40 Arcane Shots. That's a lot. Like I said earlier, I think at level 7, you can just absolutely go ham with your Arcane charges now and not feel like you need to basically like conserve these at all anymore. No, every shot you can be using one of these and just feel completely fine and very just disruptive to the enemy, because we have so many Arcane Arrow shots that do different things. You basically will have an answer to like any question. Or I guess I should say an answer to every encounter. Now for I think this will be our last choice as far as our Arcane Shot. I'm probably just gonna go with It's either Shadow Arrow or Grasping Arrow. I'm going to go with Shadow Arrow instead, and then we will call it a day. And we can move on to level 11. Now, level 11 here is when we pick up our improved extra attack. This basically makes multi-classing for Arcane Archer kind of, not difficult, but you basically just want to dip into another class with just one level. Now, can you multi-class prior to level 11? I think that's probably the like Act 2 area around level 8, 9, 10. That's probably that like a really comfortable spot to multi-class and do something like, say, like Gloomstalker or Thief or something like that. But once you hit level 11, for me, I would just go straight back to Fighter here, get this improved extra attack. It's going to let you just, again, we have so many arcane arrow shots, and now we're going to have so many opportunities to shoot them off without haste, without a speed potion, just all intrinsically to Fighter, and this is just so good. Now we will finish off here with level 12, and then we'll talk a little bit about multiclassing. We will show off some multiclass options in the gameplay section here, but at level 12, we get to pick up our last feat. And I'm thinking maybe we just go with Lucky. We could obviously use ability improvement and, you know, cap one of these off at 20, which not a bad idea. We'll just go with Lucky instead, just to show some versatility and just how good these can be. So yeah, we'll go with that, and then we can go to the multiclass section. Now, moving to the multi-class section here, obviously in the middle here, this is our Aragorn elf. I don't know why I named her that. Anyways, she is the pure fighter. This is the one I definitely like the most. I have a human character here that is 7 fighter, 3 ranger, 2 druid. Now, why did I make these choices? Well, ranger, I went with Gloomstalker. That's going to give us dread ambush, but also we can pick up another fighting style. So with fighter, we pick up archery. And then ranger here, we pick up dual or 2-weapon fighting, so we can use 2 hand crossbows if we wanted to. I don't think they're actually using that, but anyways, it's an option. And then I take druid basically to weaponize our bonus action because they're going to be using a bow. And then this will give us our luminous arrow as a bonus action just to use. A little bit of flavor just for fun, but the 7 fighter there is going to give us 7 arcane arrow charges, and that's a big deal as far as our resources. Now we also have a high half elf where we went 6 fighter, 3 rogue, 3 ranger. And why did we do this? Well, for the rogue here, we took Thief. Thief is going to give us an extra bonus action. This character here is going to be using 2 hand crossbows. And then we took Ranger again for Gloomstalker just for that opening attack. And then again, to pick up that fighting style, 2-weapon fighting on top of the archery coming from Fighter here. Now, obviously, these are not all the multi-class options. These are just kind of the ones I enjoy. I will make a special note that 11 fighter and then 1 cleric using War Priest charges as your bonus action to do an additional attack. Very popular one, very good, especially if you're just using like a bow and arrow. Definitely let me know what multi-class options you guys like to run with Arcane Archer here. Now, with this rogue and this ranger and druid variant here, these are definitely the ones I would be almost like prioritizing prior to level 11 because, again, level 11 fighter, you get that improved extra attack, is just a huge spike in power on top of this character here has 10 arcane charges. That's a lot. It's a lot of arcane charges. It's a lot of shots. You're going to see in this gameplay section here, we're basically just going to like steamroll through a bunch of fist and steel watch. And then really quick, moving to equipment. Like with most of my builds, equipment isn't like necessary, but it is going to make the build even better. But I don't know what your party composition is going to be, so as far as where you delegate your gear, that's kind of going to be up to you. I'm going to be showing off the fact that none of these really require like really specific gear to like be very effective. But down in the description, I will list off some equipment I do think is really good for Arcane Archer, but don't feel like if you're in Act 2 or Act 3 and I list off something in Act 1 that you missed, that you feel like the build is just ruined. No. You'll be just completely just fine picking up whatever you can in Act 3 to kind of fill us out. And by that time, you should already have like some really good bows or just like general armor. And then moving to the gameplay section, I had to change locations because it did not have enough targets to basically show off this full build. So I moved locations, and this one works a little bit better, a little bit more variety, different enemy types. So we're going to open up with our fighter here, and then we are just going to go to absolute town right in the middle of them. They're nice and bunched up for us, and this is why bursting arrow is just amazing for especially Act 1, but even late in the game like this. So we're going to miss our target. So we have 2 options now. Because we've our curving shot, which we pick up from Arcane Archer initially or intrinsically, but we also have Lucky. This is why I took Lucky, because it'll be another option. We will go with curved arrow just because I want to show that one off. You see, it missed her, and then it just bounced to him instead. I love it. Now, it did use our bonus action, but that's why we took a bow, so we're not missing out with like a bonus action hand crossbow shot. So really like just using a bow if you're going to go the full way with just fighter. Now, do my eyes deceive me, or are our arcane charges not being proc? Oh no, they are. Interesting. I'm gonna have to look at the footage, but we used 3 arcane shots, so I don't know why we are only at 9. There was an update this week, so or a hotfix, so maybe that bugged something. But because we are fighter here, we can just action surge, and we're gonna get 3 more shots. So let's get in a little bit closer. We already showed off that bursting arrow is just, it's so good, guys. With Act 1, I was really surprised about just how reliable Arcane Archer was. By just the amount of things it can do, or as how reliable it is at taking out targets. Because in Act 1, everybody has really bad hit chances. You don't have that many AoE options. Well, Arcane Archer does, and it's an absolute monster. I was really surprised about how strong it is. So let's continue on, and then we're gonna use something like, let's use Piercing Shot here, and we got a nice line. This should take out one of them. Oh, love it. And we can follow up. Let's go ahead and just take one of them right off the board. Oh, goodbye. And damn, we are still rolling. This is why fighter's so good. They just get so much going on. We're gonna charge right in there. We're gonna use our luck roll. That didn't really work out for us. None of this really worked out for us. Okay, well, we just tore through some luck dice there to get in a little bit closer at the end of the day. But I was hoping we'd get close to use Booming Blade next turn, but that was a fantastic opening from our Arcane Archer there. Now let's move on to our dual crossbow and then see what they can do. Now we do have Dread Ambush. I don't even think we have enough targets here. I think we're going to tear through these guys as well. Now we do have a lot of options. Obviously with this version here, we only have 3 arcane shots. We can use something like Sneak Attack. This guy's threatened over here. Let's do that. We missed. That's okay. Let's just ensure we get a shot over here. Let's take out this guy. We have a 65% chance to put on Fairy Fire, but this is 100% going to hurt him and kill him. Boom. Love it. Love it, love it. Let's quickly just shoot off our bonus action. Let's weaken this guy a little bit. We will action surge, and because they're half elf, we also can just use Booming Blade. We missed Booming Blade. That's okay. We can just follow up with a regular strike. Alright, maybe not the best showcase of the melee potential, but you can melee as a arcane archer, because at the end of the day, you still are a fighter, and fighters are really good basically in any form of combat. But back to our druid variant here, let's use a luminous arrow as our bonus action, because this guy doesn't have much health, and luminous arrow should do enough damage. Oof, luminous arrow can crit, and it just, I love the spell animation for it. It looks so good. But even now with this multi-class option, we have 3 shots we can take in our opener. Gonna take them out. Okay, they're not dead yet. We'll go ahead and use Seeking Arrow on him to guarantee our hit and that he's knocked out. And then let's use, we could banish them as well. Why not? I love that Banishing Arrow both does damage to them and then it takes them off the table as well, as far as like in the encounter for a turn or two. So everybody's gone. These last 2 targets are banished, and we can kind of just reposition. We're going to keep her here, and I think we'll show off Shadow Arrow, because again, these animations really cool. Really love what the dev team did with again, all the new animations. Drunken Master, Arcane Archer, Blade Singer, really good, really good. I think this guy's good here. I think again with this variant here, we can do some healing if we wanted to, if that's more your speed. But I think we'll just, again, we're going to wait till these guys get unbanished, and now they're back, and they're basically just here to get destroyed. We'll use Shadow Arrow. Who's got more health? You do. You might live. We could curve this shot as well. Why not? So good. Man, this is why I said at the beginning of the video, they're just very reliable, consistent, a lot of different options here. I love Arcane Archer. I know some people, again, were cold on it in the on the test server, but they gave us so many shots now. I've been using a shot every turn basically with this fighter variant here, and I still have 6 arcane shots to go through. So we'll just do Shadow Shot again. We keep missing, but that's why we took Lucky, and they're just dead. So I definitely think in Act 3 here, again, this full fighter, really good. I think this druid mix here is also pretty good or can be good in the late game. This one, if you want to go 2 hand crossbows, I think this is good in late game. You're just not going to have as many arcane arrow shots, but I only used, what, 1 with him? I mean, honestly, these 2 were doing a lot of the heavy lifting, and you can see that Our Tav here, or I guess they're all Tavs technically, still has 5 arrows, and then she also still has 5 arrows, and then if we just hit a short rest, back up to 10. But alright, that's the video, guys. If you have not tried out Arcane Archer, hopefully this video convinced you that in your next playthrough, or I guess in the middle of the playthrough you have going on now, to change one of your party members or have one of your party members be an Arcane Archer. And I think you will be pleasantly surprised about how reliable they are as a weapon range dealer, and they just have so many options of how they can help your party out. It's not just about damage, it's about what these arcane arrows can do as far as their conditions that also can set up your other party members, take enemies off the field with banish, and do AoE. It's just so good. They are so good. I really love that from the test server to the live version now, they gave them these more arcane arrow shots, because prior, I think they only had 7. I'd have to go back and look at my video, and that just didn't feel like enough, especially when you compared them to Battle Master, which is also a fantastic range class as well. But now that they gave you 10, and you can just continually just use them over and over and over again, and you're going to be able to go from encounter to encounter, it's just feels really good. Feels really good. So hopefully you guys enjoyed the video. Thank you if you've made it this far. And yeah, I'll see you next time. Peace. Take care.